Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Friday, the 4th of March, I think. I'm kind of losing my days anymore. Sometimes it feels like I'm not sure what day it is. How are y'all doing? How are you feeling about everything that's going on in our world? I'm not depressed. I think I'm a little down. I always am during Lent. We started Lent, the season of Lent, 2 days ago on Ash Wednesday. And I always find that Lent is a very powerful season for me. It brings me home to a darker place. It's not really a great way of expressing it, but I'm a deeper place, maybe even darker. But I don't know whether it's also because, spring is coming but isn't here yet, and it's kind of we're sick of the winter. I'm sick of COVID. We're sick of so many things that it's like Lent is sort of a heavy thing. Sometimes it feels like, when you go to the dentist and they put that big the heavy vest on you, the lead vest, so that when they do their x-rays, you don't get blasted by the rays. Sometimes it feels like Lent is like that for me. And this year, there's so much on my mind. In particular, on my mind is all the young people, or not so young people, men and women who have signed up, signed on the dotted line, been sworn in to serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. We went through Afghanistan and it was horrific. And many people have never even come close to understanding how bad it really was. We have now got thousands of veterans that aren't recognized because they're not in their 70s or 80s. They're veterans who are in their late 20s and early 30s and 40s. We have people who may not be maimed in body and obviously injured, but they are so maimed in their mind and in their souls from what they saw and what they did and what they could do and what they couldn't do, what they had to do, when they had to not do. And then we went for a while, it's been quiet. The last few years we haven't had that need to have such a feeling of like, okay, everybody's ready to go and trained and we're recruiting people to become soldiers because we have a war to fight. For the last several years, it's been pretty quiet. We've had soldiers in the Middle East. We've had soldiers in Eastern Europe, and they're mostly doing training and teaching other people other soldiers how to be soldiers and to use equipment and things like that, because we're good at that. But we haven't had to face a time of war. It's early days in Ukraine. So much devastation has already happened, and God knows what will happen yet. But the reality is that we have people stationed here at CFB Wainwright, at Garrison Wainwright, who are doing their basic training or their primary qualifications. We have people in Saint Jean, Quebec, and at Borden and other places who are training to learn their trade, to learn how to be soldiers. And for those who signed up a month or two or 6 months or 2 years ago, they signed up thinking this is a time of peace. What's going to happen? And now we're facing the reality that our world has changed. We can't pretend that Putin didn't try to invade Ukraine. We can't pretend that this madman exists and is threatening nuclear war. We can't pretend that we as Canadians can sit back and watch from afar because, hey, we're peacekeepers. Not going to happen over here. As I am so often reminded, if Putin wanted to attack North America, he just has to come over the top. We're here, and we're part of the global village that is the world. And we have a role to play. And we should be playing that role well. We should be training our soldiers and our sailors and our air personnel how to do their job to the best of their ability, and we should equip them with the best of things so they can do that job well. Because I want to know that every single person, every single young man and woman, every single person who's training right now, just a few streets over from where I live, I want to know that they never have to use their skills, but if they did, they could save their own lives and they could save others. But I keep thinking about how they must feel. You know, they come into basic and they get their haircuts and their kit issued and all of those things. They learn how to march and they learn how to clean their weapon, and it's all, yeah, whatever, you know, this is cool. Good benefits and good time off and get to see the world. And then all of a sudden this gets really real. They need to know that as Canadians, and especially for those of us who are Christians or those of us who are faithful to a divine presence, maybe Islam or Judaism or some other religion, for those of us who are faithful and believe in the divine presence, we need to be praying for them. And they need to know that we are praying for them. They are someone's son or daughter. They might be someone's husband or wife or someone's parent. They need to know that we support them, that we encourage them, that we are praying for them. Even if they don't like prayer, even if they don't believe in God, I can't imagine there would be too many people out there, too many soldiers at Garrison Wainwright who would be angry if someone said to them, I'm praying for you. They may not believe in prayer or that God is or anything like that, but surely they would understand the sentiment, what we're trying to say to them, that we care about them, that we appreciate what they're doing, and that we are wanting them to be safe. I said to my congregation in Edgerton last Sunday that I shared with them a story about when Rob and his friend Mike came home from basic training, and we were out in uniform at dinner in a restaurant in Sarnia, and a little girl came up and thanked them for their service and asked them if they knew her brother. Just the way a child's mind works. And remember seeing the look, especially on Mike's face, because it was the first time he'd ever been thanked for wearing the uniform. And I think it was a profound moment for him. I remember watching Rob's face the first time I saw that happen for Rob. And it was a woman, we had gone out for dinner in a restaurant in Barrie, and we're going in the door, and he tried to hold the door open for her. And she said, no, I need to hold this door open for you to thank you. Because he was wearing the uniform. We need to do more of that. We need to offer our appreciation. We need to offer them our prayers. We need to show them that they do not do this alone. That the people that they serve, without asking anything of us, that we appreciate them and that we support them. And indeed, we are praying for them. It is so important that they know. It's so important that we know that we're praying for them. Because they are offering their lives. There's a thing called unlimited liability, which essentially means that when they do this, when they join the military, they know that there is a chance that, however remote it may be, that they may give up their life in the job. That's part of an expectation of what could happen to them. There's no such expectation for me as a priest. There's no expectation that my dentist or my doctor would have to give up their life because of their job. But for our military, that's included in the job, the expectations. Probably will never happen. Hopefully it won't. But too often, more often than we want to know, it does. So as we head into this first weekend in Lent, as we watch the news and see what's happening, and we argue or disagree with or agree with what governments are doing, what NATO is doing, what the UN is doing, let's not think necessarily always on such a global scale, and think about everything on a smaller scale. That some of the people that you shop with at Walmart or at the co-op or No Frills or the drugstore, people you see at Jack's Place or at Tim Hortons, those are people who might have to go overseas for your sake, to make sure that we have the freedom to worship, to be educated, to live, to take up jobs and vocations that don't require us to offer unlimited liability or accept it. please, please pray for the members of our Canadian Armed Forces and all those armed forces around the world. Because every person who picks up a weapon, every person who dons the uniform is somebody's child. They need our prayers. They really do. So please pray for them throughout Lent, throughout this horrible crisis in Ukraine, and whatever will come next. Pray for all members of military, for what they do, for what they offer, that they may have life, both physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. Have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. No, I'll see you Sunday, sorry. The 6th of March for Lent 1, the first Sunday in Lent. And we'll chat next Monday as well. God bless you. Don't forget to pray for our military.